You bashing black women for upkeep, and you went to jail for unpaid child support payments, fam.
Podcaster Tommy Sotomayor recently posted a tweet, and we could definitely get into that. But I want to preface this by saying I know Tommy is a controversial guy. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yeah, after I did my research, I saw that he was pretty controversial.
And I'm going to be honest. I'm a Soto Nation. I'm a part of Soto Nation. I'm a big fan of his, and I'm able to eat the meat and spit out the bones. That's really what I'm accustomed to in my life because I'm be real. I was raised by a mother that talked just like him, so I know what it takes to be able to decipher what someone's saying, and I'm not ashamed to say I like someone that's that controversial. But he recently commented on this particular photo by Halle Bailey. As you can see, she's a recent mother, and she's showing off her mom bod. So Tommy had this to say: "Say we have the lowest class of women on earth. Right after having their babies, do they show you the new side of them? This mom side? No, they show you how they right back to. I'm sorry, it's kind of bad vernacular. They show you how they right back to being exactly what they were pre-baby. Black women love to let you know that having a baby don't change your life, but that's the problem. It should because it does. If you don't want a baby to change your life, then why become a mother? These chicks have babies simply as boldly as a bodily function, nothing more. Yeah, we can agree that's pretty harsh there. But
And
we
very loaded, very loaded.
it's very loaded, and you have to really decipher what he's saying. But let's move forward because this went kind of viral, and our people start to we have a separate side of Twitter. We call it Black Twitter.
Absolutely.
So
Separate
so we
side of
start to
everything.
a different side of everything. We bring flavor to whatever we touch. So they began to go in on my boy. I will be honest. So one particular guy who collected those uh, tweets or the research that happened on that people actually did on Tommy was comedian Tahir Moore.
This is why I love Twitter. It would seem like it's just so much easier just to mind your business. Who are your friends that you're testing these wild ass statements out on first before you post? No one? It shows, all right? This man has some strong feelings about Haley posting pictures of herself after she had the baby. Oh, you're not showing off the baby. You back to showing what you look like before the baby. Sir, how does that concern you? But Twitter being what it is, they did what they do. And they found this. You bashing black women for upkeep, and you went to jail for unpaid child support payments, fam. Fam. Do you know how many murders could be solved if Twitter really just put forth the effort? They will find any and everything about you. And you got the nerve while you sitting up here, you ain't even taking care of your kid. Fam! Twitter gonna throw a little razzle dazzle. Well, hello there, time. You, this is a bad. Why would you even say anything? Why would you say anything? I'm gonna go father change you. Of course, he didn't respond to any of these, and maybe he learned his lesson. Probably not though.
And that's not necessarily true. He did respond, but I'm not expecting to hear to know that. Now, first off, we got to get your opinion on Tommy's original tweet. What would that be?
Mhm. Um, so I am a big advocate in either you're going to fully help the community or you're also an op. There is no being lukewarm with it and switching sides. And I'm also an advocate for um, if you want your community, if you beloved your community and you want your community to change their ways, even if you may have a message, you also have to understand that if your message was that she should show more modesty and humility after childbirth, I think there are ways to say it, because now it just seems like you're a hater online, and haters only get really like just views and other haters. I'm not big on the hating game.
All
Um,
right.
but I'm also um really big on too is that before you even have a comment like that, so you may even want to help. So one, fix your comment and how you say things. But two, if you don't have a relationship with the girl, she has a whole man, father, other male figures. And here you are going out of what I would say your masculine lane is to kind of, not even kind of, just because I don't like to say being messy is feminine. I don't like a lot of people like, oh, it's emotional and feminine, because I don't take that as to be a negative. Emotions are a superpower and it's synonymous with being spiritual. So I don't like ladies to feel bad when somebody calls them emotional. Yes, you are, sis. You are a helpmeet unto this, just like the Holy Spirit. But again, in terms of his comments, I think if he wanted it to be really fruitful, he would have reworded it better. He probably wouldn't have tried to publicly shame and belittle and crack jokes. And also, I think his comments could have been a bit more real, because she also does show a lot of her baby. She from what she gives to social media, her and DDG look like great parents so far. So I won't hate on her for that. And I also just don't necessarily think men will get the result that they desire by speaking to women in a language that they don't understand. And so sometimes I think it's best to let the elders and the women elders of the community groom that life into her more so, versus someone who is completely disconnected and obviously doesn't even have the right tactics to reach her really speak on it. So now it just seems a bit divisive and counteractive to me of what's going on in the community. So
Yeah, that's completely fair. Completely fair what you're saying there, and I think Tommy would have to respect that as well. I think there's an element of him that is a shock jock,
mhm.
so to speak, and he's doing things for shock. I look at Tommy, in my opinion, the way I came across your content was a video you did. I think it was a short of Shahrazad Ali. I'm sorry, is that her name?
It is.
I love what you said about her, and that you pointed out the things that she was all about and still is all about to this day. And I think the same way that we disqualify Tommy now is how she was always disqualified. I've seen several videos of her in the 80s, on Donahue and all
Mhm.
kind of talk shows getting clowned by a woman who we love now, but what's her
Oh yeah,
name?
Ayamla.
Ayana.
Yeah,
We
I
love her
saw that
now,
too.
and it's so funny how she just switched the game, and now she's speaking kind of sort of like Miss
Hmm.
Ali and also like Tommy. And I hear what you're saying as far as who should be able to talk, and and I definitely, the Word of God, the Bible talks about the old elder women, mentoring the younger women. I get that in totality, but what I also get, and I made a comment on this post because for Tahir, and I maybe misunderstood what he did initially. When I think back at it, he wasn't necessarily laughing at Tommy. He was laughing at the internet being able to pull up things. But I took it initially that he was laughing at another man
Hmm.
owing child support,
And
which,
see, that's why, and again, counteractive to the community, because even that going to find his dirt again doesn't help, because when you realize that Black women and Black men are reflections of each other, me hurting you and you hurting me, we are just hurting each other, because the Most High told us to be two as one, like to be that complete
Yeah.
essence of what the reflection, what the makeup of the Most High even is. And to
Yes.
talk about Shahrazad Ali too, I also sometimes, although I praise her for her works, I think great researcher. She stood on what the kids like to say, they standing on business. She stood on business. She stood on business. But I also think too, again, if we really want to reach our people, sometimes you have to talk sweet to them, like people are going to be more receptive, because I also find some of the things in Shahrazad's original work that, again, I think were counterproductive. I do still think she was an advocate for the community, but again, when you're talking to women and you want to reach women, and women have a softer side, and you shouldn't just come so abrasive to women. You shouldn't belittle women. Nobody wants to hear if you're, you know, talking down on them. We just have to respect that fact, no matter whether it's the woman or a man saying it, that if you want a certain outcome for your community, speak to your community how they can receive it. Get down with it. Sometimes it is harsh love too, but it shouldn't be an imbalance of just completely harsh love without, the actual warm, tender we're really correcting this so that we can get through it versus I'm just shaming you so that you can feel shame. Because right now, as we can see, the ladies don't care about shame. So you can shame them all they want. They still turning up and we're not getting anywhere, Come to
Yeah,
them as a sister, a mother, a father, a brother.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. However, when it comes to, and it's not a debate at all, it's really just a conversation. So I'm not telling you wrong in what you're saying, but I want to say that there was a point in time, where that shame did matter. It was a point in time going to grandma's house. We dressed better. We talked
Mhm.
different. We didn't lie on church ground, cuss on church ground, things of that
Yeah.
nature. Like we had reverence for certain things in our community, and because we knew that someone would say something. Like you did whatever you could
Hmm.
just to avoid hearing grandma's mouth or granddaddy mouth. And I think now because shame has been taken away, and it's going to be shown even more later on in our next topic, we don't have a standard, so to
Hmm.
speak. And I asked in the comment section after I talked to Tahir about what I thought was wrong about his laughter. I asked people who were responding to me, can you name one person that has been critical of black women that has been well received? Because I submit to you that I don't think it's necessarily about how people say it. I think it's just the fact that they are being critical. Because Ayala, who is more sweet than Ayala? And she still had to get off of air and
Hmm.
refuse to speak to people publicly anymore. Or I don't know, I can't remember exactly what she said verbatim, but it was something along the lines of she can't really do at this time, or women
Hmm.
in general. So I'm yet to find that answer at this point. Who
Hmm.
can correct black women in whatever matter that they said?
Yeah, and I don't think this issue will necessarily just be centered on Black women. I think that's just a morality issue in general with all. Evil right now is reigning supreme, and it's very few and far that you find the good, and then even fewer and far that you find the willing to go help the ones that are kind of on that battle, like the ones that are being raised up into evil, but don't necessarily have evil at their core. It's very far
Mm,
and few to where you have people that actually want to, again, reach out and help and build. And I think in cases of people like Ayanla, like myself, like Shahrazad Ali, these are people that are the ones in their generation and time, yet we're not all banding together. Because
mm,
the three of us, imagine, and other women pioneers and women activists, but more so righteous women activists. Imagine
right.
those pioneers having their own community like that, to where the weight of the work is heavy. So I understand taking a step back because it's so many things wrong with our people. It's so many curses that we are trying to break, and it's not just something that we can do individually. The Most High told us to gather as a people and as a nation, and we have yet to do that. And in just
Mm.
supporting one, unless it's for debauchery. We gather for that all day long. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we gather for that all day long
I
to
was gonna
act a
say, I
plum
was
fool.
gonna say.
But when it comes to, actually building community and really making change and not just symbolic victories, again, it's far and few. And the ones who are pioneering that change and ushering in that era, they also have to develop that community to be able to continue the work and make the work legacy, as well as just have that community, because the woman also needs rest and rejuvenation. And although she can heal, she too needs to be healed sometime and be nurtured as well. So,
Yeah, that's a very valid point for sure. And I was going to say, like, we don't have issue, gathering for debauchery as you mentioned, or just to destroy someone, because
mhm,
that's one thing I see. Like, whenever there is someone being critical, we find every way to disqualify that person. Just like this
mhm,
with Tommy. Like, I've been a Tommy fan for about 12 years, and
mhm,
I'm not just trying to lord him, anything like that, or exalt him. Like, he has his flaws, but that particular argument against him, it's not nothing new. They've been doing this his whole life, and this child support and all these jail photos are a decade old at least. And not just him, anyone. We find
yeah.
anyone, any way to disqualify the person instead of focusing on the message. And
Mhm.
everyone has a past. I heard a preacher say one time, you can't have a message unless you once had a mess. So you
Absolutely.
look at anyone who is in the Bible, anyone who we look at as a significant figure in history, they have a past. And so I'm not making it about him. I'm making it just the general point of why are we so quick to disqualify someone, and specifically, I'm just going to, I'm not asking you to have this view, but specifically when it comes to protecting Black women, when it comes to anyone who has anything critical to say, men will rise up. That's what, had me boiling about Tahir. Men will rise up first to protect them in that manner, instead of calling out what the actual issue is that the person is referring to.
I think that's just been a thing of age old. The prophet has no love in his homeland.
Ooh, that's good.
And again, though, like something I've learned from Shahrazad Ali, because I used to be very controversial. Like I say my piece here and there now, and it's like I'm really gotta get right with them. But before, when I first started and I had the fire and the passion, and I just felt like, you come into this great awakening, you start to, I think, throw a lot of daggers. And again, you just have to realize too, because this is also something I realize I'm throwing daggers. I can't be mad when warfare is coming back unto me. Like if we can all agree, on energy and just universal principles and just standard laws that God has set, then again, now I'm getting more receptive. I can make my way into different lanes and organizations and talking to people because I'm being wiser with my tongue. So I'm not trying to, again, throw a dagger to shoot to make my point across. I can make my point with love and harmony and peace, still with sternness and still me standing on what I believe. But again, I think it's methods to it. And right now, everyone does go for that shock value, but they don't realize the shock value, it's a shock. So it's going to shock you, but it's also shocking your community, which again, it's hurting both sides. So that's why I just say we just have to be wiser. We already know that the prophet gets no love in his hometown. So don't make the job even more hard. Make it easier by being wiser, using smarter tactics, and actually caring for your people. Because as I start to care for my people, even how I was saying, even though I disagree with the imaging of Meg Thee Stallion and a lot of our influencers, I still, again, know that I was once there. So how would I have liked to be taught and treated and told? And I know what didn't work. And I know when somebody came at me with a dagger, the skirt got a little bit shorter, because why not? How you gonna tell me what to do? You ain't my mama, my daddy, and even if he is, just that type of energy. I just know a soft answer turneth away wrath, and that's biblical, and it's also just proverbial in general across. We just have to be a bit wiser. Like I said, either really be an advocate, or also just let us know that you just here for the shock value and the funds and the be viral and do that, and just kind of be like a different version of a shade room. But that's two evils to the same thing to me. If you're gonna be on the good side, please rep the good, and let's make smarter choices that the good, would make. So
really good. And that is, although I've been following Tommy, it's primarily for entertainment purposes. But I will say, that would be, I met him once and when he came to Dallas, but if I were to talk to him one-on-one again, that would be my main critique. Like to do what you do and not expect to get, vigor back is something that, that you shouldn't complain about. But I also think
it also weighs out though, I think it weighs out, because then it's like the shock value also brings in the attention that we need for the revenue generation. So it's also us finding that balance of how can I provide for myself with, again, not being a detriment necessarily to the community or to myself, because that also affects his mental health. I'm sure, like all these comments, people hating on you, it's one thing to be like, oh, F them, but it's a real thing that's still energy coming towards you. So I want my brother to protect his peace as well, because we need him for longevity purposes and to restore our community. Again, one isn't greater than the other.
Most definitely. And that's why I was going. Like he has mentioned the mental anguish that this has on him, that it takes on him, and that's part of it. It's definitely part of it. But that's my guy. I still support him, but we'll leave it there.
I'm not mad at you.
Right.
Let's go.